This is Mac OS Ken.
Growing iPhone manufacturing in India, another rumble over right to repair, and the Galactic Empire is hard up for cash. It is Monday, the 12th of February, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. The New York Times ran a relatively interesting piece recently on India's quiet push to steal more of China's iPhone business. That's what the headline said anyway, though there was very little news about iPhone specifically. About the only hard news was of a dormitory site being built by Foxconn for close to 19,000 additional workers, presumably to make more iPhones. Still, the article, focused largely on Tamil Nadu, addresses how Finnish phone maker Nokia actually laid the groundwork for the region's growth back in 2006, how government officials there measure their region not by comparing themselves to other parts of India, but by comparing Tamil Nadu to other nations, the education and infrastructure that officials say make Tamil Nadu a world player, and points like that. Kind of reads like a pitch for a document on why you should do business in Tamil Nadu. That said, it does add color to the stories we hear from the subcontinent and the potential for more manufacturing to move from China to India. Apple is back to its usual right to repair fight, this time against a bill being battered around in Oregon. TechCrunch ran the report, versions of which we've heard many times over the years. Boiling it down, 6 members of the Oregon State Legislature are pushing Senate Bill 1596. While Apple says it is in favor of a lot of the proposed legislation, it's pushing back on the part tied to parts pairing. According to iFixit, according to the article, 7 iPhone parts can trigger issues during repairs, a figure that was more than double the 3 that were identified in 2017 and marked a rise of about 20% a year since 2016, when only 1 repair caused a problem. Public Interest Research Group calls parts pairing one of the most pernicious obstacles to right to repair. Oregon State Senator Janine Solman refers to parts pairing as anti-consumer, and John Perry, Apple's senior manager, secure system design, says it's about safety and optimal performance. According to Perry, it is our belief that the bill's current language around parts pairing will undermine the security, safety, and privacy of Oregonians by forcing device manufacturers to allow the use of parts of unknown origin in consumer devices. In the piece, Perry goes on to say, under SB 1596 current parts pairing wording, Apple could be required to allow third-party biometric sensors to work in their devices without any form of authentication, which could lead to unauthorized access to an individual's personal data. This would be an incredible disservice to consumers, not just in Oregon, but worldwide, as we do not have the ability to restrict such provisions regionally. No word in the piece on next steps for the proposed legislation. Apple may be making it easier to spend Apple Cash. 9to5Mac has word of a feature that's turned up in the latest beta of iOS 17.4. According to reports on Reddit, the piece says, Apple Cash users can now set up a virtual card number that can be used for shopping when Apple Pay online isn't an option. The way the site describes Apple Cash, it's basically a prepaid debit card, but with no associated number. So if you go to a website that will take a debit card but won't take Apple Pay, you're out of luck. With the new offering, the piece says once a user opts into setting up an Apple Cash virtual card number, they can view that card number, generate new numbers and security codes, and more. 9to5Mac says the Apple Cash virtual card number seems to be working for iOS 17.4 beta testers. That version of iOS is expected to see public release early next month. A truly messed up story of AirTag and stalking and a happy ending, hopefully. 9 to 5 Mac highlights a report from local affiliate WTNH out of Connecticut. A woman there got a notification in February of 2023 that an AirTag had been following her. Honestly, she sounds fairly tech-savvy, attributing the notification to a pair of AirPods left in her car by a family member. When the notification popped again a month later, though, she knew it wasn't that. This time she did a hard search of her car and found the offending tracker. Using the AirTag's serial number, area police were able to track down the owner and take him into custody about a year later. I said this was a messed up story. Really, though, it's messed up in a number of ways. First, stalking is messed up. If you're doing that, stop it or seek help or both. Where it gets more messed up, the woman being stalked said that she was not familiar with and had never had any interactions with the AirTag's owner. Now you may be wondering why this whole thing took a year to unfold. Personally, I feel like this is the most messed up part. It was apparently spring of 2023 when police found out who owned the AirTag and established contact with him. Quoting WTNH, on the 8th of May 2023, they made contact with the individual who explained that he had relocated to another city in Connecticut. When police attempted to make arrangements to meet him, he said that he did not drive and would need transportation. Communication attempts with the individual proved challenging, with calls redirected to voicemail on multiple occasions. It was not until the 7th of February 2024 that authorities managed to establish contact with the individual. No offense to anyone, but I've been to Connecticut. It's not Rhode Island small, but it's not Texas big. Feels like this process could have gone a bit more quickly. Once law enforcement caught up with him, 9 to 5 Mac says the accused was taken into custody and charged with a case of electronic stalking. WTNH says he is currently out on a $10,000 cash surety bond pending arraignment. That is set for this coming Friday. Reality may be catching up to prestige TV, even in Cupertino. A surprising and annoying story from Deadline has sources saying that issues with budgeting and physical production are delaying filming in Prague and Poland on the Apple TV Plus series Foundation. Hey Apple, fix this please. According to Deadline, cast and crew who had already convened for the shoot were told to return home while production issues are sorted, with the budget brought down. No new start date has been set. Hey Apple, fix this please. Not the first stoppage for this season, according to the report. Citing secret sources, Deadline says the sci-fi drama filmed for several weeks in spring of 2023 before shutting down due to the strike. About a third of Foundation's third series is in the can, sources said. Hey Apple, fix this please. They used to make 26 episodes of Moonlighting every season. They used to make 26 episodes of Star Trek every season. MASH, Barnaby Jones, the list goes on. I know every episode of every show now has more special effects than most blockbuster movies did 10 or 20 years ago, but they don't have to. That said, you have set up a several seasons sci-fi epic on which you chose to spend millions of dollars per episode. Hey Apple, please fix this. I need my Cleons. And finally today, congrats to Apple for nabbing trophies at this past weekend's Directors Guild of America Awards. Apple Insider says the Cupertino company picked up 2 awards at the event, one for a show and one for an advertisement. On the ad, the piece says Kim Garrig of Some Such won Outstanding Directorial Achievement in Commercials. They got that for the Run This Town spot for Apple Music Plus. As for the series, 3 cheers and some hardware for Sarah Adina Smith. Smith won the award for Outstanding Directorial Achievement in Movies for Television and Limited Series for the Her and Him episode of Lessons in Chemistry. Before we part ways for the day, I want to remind you about the OpenCase Kickstarter about which I told you a couple of weeks ago. Friend of the show, John Rokos, had an idea a few years back for improving MagSafe cases for iPhone. Open the case so the pop handle or MagSafe wallet doesn't pop off or slide around. Now, I've had an OpenCase on my phone for a couple of weeks, and I really can't imagine carrying anything else. It is so convenient to take phone, wallet, and keys down to 2 items instead of 3. It looks good, and it works great. I am happy to say the project has hit its funding goal, but they're looking to build more. The original goal was almost like a proof of concept, bringing in enough to produce product for the people who had supported the launch. But they're not looking for this to be a one-and-done thing. Every dollar above the goal makes it more possible to build this product into an actual business that can make the OpenCase ecosystem thrive. Personally, I would love to see that happen. So let me remind you to swing by the OpenCase project on Kickstarter. There's a link in the notes for today's show, or you can go to Kickstarter.com and search for OpenCase. All one word, OPENCASE. Search for OpenCase, all one word, at Kickstarter.com and help make this thing happen. If you missed the show where we talked to John, it was the 1st of February episode for macOS Ken. As I said then, this is not an ad. John is not a sponsor. He's just a friend with an idea that I think is great. So if you will, check out the project on Kickstarter. And thanks. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.